Welcome to Bridge the Atlantic. We are your hosts, web designer Ross Barber
and singer-songwriter Marcia Novelli.
This week we are joined by LA-based singer-songwriter Keaton Simons. Keaton's enjoyed international recognition for his music while on major labels Maverick and CBS Records, and he's also had success in the hip-hop world as a writer, musical director, singer, bassist and guitarist with notable acts like Snoop Dogg, Gnarls Barkley, and he's also performed on The Tonight Show with Leno and the Ellen DeGeneres Show, and his music's featured on Sons of Anarchy, Malcolm in the Middle and many more. We're excited to chat with Keaton about what he's got coming up. So hey, how's it going?
Hey, great, man.
Howdy.
I wonder if you're hearing my giant dog breathing right here in the fish here.
Aww, what's her name?
Her name is Bentley, and that's a picture of her in a tutu up there, a painting.
Who did it? Who did the painting? Was that you?
No, it's actually a friend who started as a fan of mine.
Oh, no way.
She usually paints, just horses, I think. And she's it's like, I don't usually do things this whimsical, but she was inspired to do it from a photograph.
Isn't that great when like a friend becomes a fan or a fan becomes a friend?
Oh, yes.
That's wonderful.
It's the best.
So Keaton, right off the bat, tell us 3 things about yourself that everyone should know.
Oh boy! Well,
besides the love of your dog,
music,
of course.
Right? Exactly. I like to play music. What else? I like to experiment with new things. I like to experience new things. I like to try like different foods and stuff like that. I love to travel. What else? I feel like I'm on a dating site or something. Not that I.
Maybe you are.
Exactly. I got a whole idea for a different show.
There we go. I like it.
And that's. I don't know. I don't know what else.
So, okay, Keaton, tell us. I know this is a broad question, but what's the major label experience like? Because a lot of people don't know what it's like.
That is kind of a broad experience. I mean, I think the main misconception about the major label experience is that it's somehow the end of a journey when it is really the very beginning of a journey. And also, I think, because kind of people tend to think like, oh, I got signed, now I've made it, like I'm over the hump, but you are nowhere near, you're at the very bottom of the hill, and that's the thing that I understood that. I knew that because I grew up in an entertainment industry family, so I understood kind of how those things worked, but still you can't really prepare yourself for just how little of a difference it can make sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it can make a tremendous difference in certain ways, and also it depends on the artist. It really does so much. I mean, if you're like a pop artist, pop dance, like where you're going to be lip syncing your live performances and it'll be choreographed and so on and so forth, it might be a different experience. There's not going to be as much grassroots, you won't be like touring solo acoustic for a few years before you get,
I hear you.
So in that sense, the major label experience would be different. But for someone like myself, it's just, it's interesting how little of a difference it can make.
That's so interesting. Well, especially in today's, I hate saying it, but today's day and age, it's like you can really cut out the middleman, like with crowdfunding and just direct to fan. And I think it's a beautiful thing. It's become a really different thing than it was maybe 10, 15 or 20 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which I think is an exciting thing. I mean, there's a lot of oversaturation. Yeah. But, we all have an opportunity that maybe we all didn't have before,
Totally. Well, to me, there's nothing wrong with oversaturation because it ultimately just really raises the bar.
That's true.
It's true in every respect. Whenever there's enough, because I mean, you don't even have to treat it competitively to reap those benefits. I think that we all, especially like as independent artists, the way that we're able to raise each other up, not just by inspiring each other to be better, but also to really support each other directly, is one of the strongest things about today's music industry.
Yeah, I love that. I know Ross and I are both strong supporters of the idea that we are not in competition. We are here to work with one another. Yeah. I don't like thinking of that. No competition,
Absolutely.
It's silly. Yeah. There's enough room for everyone. I think quality over quantity is important to keep in mind.
Indeed.
Well, talking about the major label experience too, I'm going to get these numbers wrong, but I heard somewhere that it's, I think, 7% of artists that are signed to major labels ever have their record actually released. It's something, I know it's around that. So.
And then it's something even smaller that actually the record's actually successful. It's like, they're not like 2% or 3%, maybe
like
even less.
Of those 7%, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
it's amazing. Well,
yeah, that's the thing. The majority of people who get signed to a major label, the experience is they get signed and then they get dropped before their album comes out.
Yes,
Their album gets put on a shelf,
Yeah.
and then they're gone before.
And then you can't release it because they paid for it. But some people do it for free. Some people leak it, which I think is smart.
I have found my way creatively.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about that. How have you found?
No, I mean, just by.
I thought we were going to get controversial here. Like, oh yeah.
No, it's just it really is just like, champagne problems kind of thing. Like,
right.
Hey, listen, if somebody comes after me, if I've sold enough records that somebody's going to come after me, then I'm doing something right.
I was going to say, you got to let them, yeah. Well, how did you start collaborating with some hip hop artists? Like, you've worked with some really legitimate names in the industry, And how is that also different from the blues rock music that you kind of initially found success in?
Well, before I became a solo artist, I was playing with a lot of hip hop artists. So that was actually kind of the beginning of my professional music career. I very first started playing my own original music with friends in an original band in LA, but that was when I was started when I was about 16, 17. And then through that band, actually, through a friend of mine, met Trey Hardson from The Far Side, which is one of the greatest hip-hop groups of all time. And I was already a huge fan of The Far Side. He was looking to start a solo project, and he and I did it together when I was about 19. So that's kind of how, and then through Trey, I met so many other people, including all the Black Eyed Peas, and got hooked up with Snoop Dogg and played Night Show with him, and all, just
that's crazy.
That whole world, I got into it that way, and then all the while I was putting my own project together, learning from my experience of touring and recording, producing, writing, and musical directing for all these different bands. And when I made that transition, it was really interesting because a lot of the artists that I supported didn't even know that I was a singer-songwriter. And so they were like, when I told them I got signed to Maverick, I had to say, guys, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to have time to do the band anymore because I just got signed to Warner Brothers. And they're like, for what? They thought I was some guitar, it was going to be some guitar tapping shredding record or something like that. Mm-hmm.
Could you explain a little to us what musical direction is? Because I think we hear that, but a lot of people don't know. I don't completely know myself what being a musical director is for other artists.
Well, honestly, it varies. I'm sure there is a rigid definition for it that I just haven't adhered to, mostly because the majority of musical direction I've done has been in the world of independent hip hop music.
Okay.
But no, musical director is basically another term for band leader. So it's the person who assumes the responsibility to make sure that everybody knows their parts. It can also, go into tour management as well. The way that it applied to me, because I wasn't playing with. The majority of artists that I was playing with, even though they were very popular hip-hop artists, they still weren't signed to major labels or had $1 million budgets. We weren't touring on buses and private jets and stuff like that. So I assumed the responsibility also to make sure that I advanced the shows, that I, smoothed over any rough edges or miscommunications. And kind of, played the role of tour manager as well. But for me, musical director was just about basically I was kind of the one that was in charge of the music, making sure everybody knew their parts and how to play it and help facilitate communication and all that stuff.
So, I know you're going on tour very soon.
Yeah, it's pretty damn soon.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit where you're playing and what people can expect from the upcoming tour.
The upcoming tour? Well, it'll be a combination of venue shows and some private shows. I've really been enjoying doing very intimate private shows, either at some sort of private space or even in a person's home. It's really been an incredible experience for me doing that after spending so long playing venues, bars, clubs, and theaters and stuff, especially the venues and bars and clubs, because I'm sure you know how it is sometimes to be playing,
especially bars.
It can be so hard, man. It can be wonderful, but it can be so hard. And there's something amazing to me about the intimacy of a small group of people, no amplification whatsoever if I can help it. Just me and a guitar and and everyone there, and that's it.
It does help to build a thick skin, though, playing in front of a bunch of people that don't care.
Without a doubt.
But it's funny because a lot of people we've had on the show recently have been mentioning house shows and just how, like, not one person has said something negative about it. Even if they're playing for a handful of people, they say, like, those people end up supporting them more than, like...
Because they're more engaged, they're more invested, I think, than people that are in a bar.
Yeah.
And just when you mentioned that you prefer to play without amplification in a house show, a band that I really enjoy called Paper Airplanes, or a duo. I went to see them it wasn't a bar, but it was a really, really small bar, and only like 30 people fit in there. Yeah. But at the end of their set, they completely unplugged, and they walked into the middle of the room, and they just performed this song a cappella. Well, not a cappella, sorry. Unplugged. Just completely unplugged, and everyone in the room sang along, and it was just, that moment was it was a very, very special moment, and I imagine that's the kind of moment that you probably have a lot of at the house shows.
I do, and I've had some really amazing moments like that at larger venues.
Oh, I'm sure, of course.
Like my dear friend Pat McGee, who I've done a lot of touring with, he makes a habit of ending his shows by walking into the audience completely unplugged and finishing off there. So every show I've done with him, the first one that comes to mind is our last show in Chicago at City Winery, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous venue. They even have a little stage right in front of the sound booth, so that you can do exactly that. And
no way.
So cool. Yeah, so it's, and that was however many hundreds of people, so it was pretty sweet,
Well, speaking of friends, am I right to say you know Tyler Hilton and Tara Naomi?
Of course.
Yeah, we've had both of them on the show. They're friends of us, friends of the show. Do you guys have any funny, weird, crazy, maybe not so crazy stories possibly with them?
I don't know how crazy of stories
you can make it up. It's okay. We won't tell anyone.
Well, Tyler, I've toured with him quite a bit, and we actually originally met on Maverick. He was just a wee boy. I think he was 17 when I first met him, and it's been awesome to be friends with him and watch him through his career and just kind of grew up as a person and as an artist. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he just dropped a new record. It's really, really good.
Oh yeah, no,
he's really beautiful.
You won't hear anything bad from Tyler.
Right.
But so his dad was driving the Sprinter, and we're all in there, and everybody's just hanging, and we're doing. And we got some guitars out, we're playing, and everybody turns to me and goes, "All right, like, we've got to pee, but you need to say to Bob to pull over because you need to pee, because this is your initiation." And I was like, oh man. And I'm sitting there going, because I was like, I'm the last person to do that. Like, I'll, if anyone else is doing it, then I'm okay. I'll me too, maybe, but I'm not going to be that dude. And so they're like, you got to be that dude. Like, that's like, this is your, rite of passage here. So I figured out a way to do it, and I kind of tiptoed around it and sugarcoated it. Like, I was like, "Hey, Bob, how do we handle the urination situation?"
Smooth.
And everybody just busted up laughing, and it was wonderful from then on.
I love it. So you also have a live album that's coming out soon in the next few months.
I do indeed.
And am I right to say you get a free download of Masterpiece?
That is correct. You get the Masterpiece right now. Go to my SoundCloud.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what made you want to do that? And what do you see the benefits in giving something away for free versus charging some money for it? Because there's a debate on that.
Yeah. No, there is a debate on it. And I think that it needs to be in balance. Just like anything else. I think if you're giving everything away for free, then there is the possibility of you kind of devaluing yourself.
Yes, exactly.
At least you're setting a precedent saying this has no value, it's free. But it's not. But if you keep it in balance, then it doesn't become an issue of value. Then it becomes I'm giving it for free because I would love to give everybody music for free, but there's a reason why, I'm sure that the person who made my television would love to give it away for free if they could too, but it costs money.
Exactly.
So, it costs money to make it. It costs, all that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm for it, but it needs to be done in balance, you know?
Exactly. I mean, my voice is cracked like a prepubescent boy. That's okay. I just turned 13 last week, guys, so it's okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, actually, I'm with you. I actually, like from a personal level, I give away a song for free off my album, but not the whole album. So it's kind of a balance, you know?
Yeah.
But I think people who may not have, you know, known of me or have even bought my album, maybe from that they're listening to my music, you know, and someone else hears it that never would have heard it. But also another thing, just I'm not sure if you do this or something to keep in mind, they get it for free, but in exchange for an email address.
That happens.
They're not paying money, but I'm getting an email that I might send in out mailing. I can't speak. Send out a mailing list one day. You know?
No, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. You know, if you have a good balance of all of those things, if you have things that are available for sale, things that you're just giving away for free because you want your fans, because you appreciate your fans, and you want to give gifts. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And then things where it's like, here, you get this free, but in exchange for an email.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's different ways to pay for things than just money.
Absolutely.
You know, there's like different ways of exchanging. And also, you're probably not going to give a brand new album away for free. You know what I mean? But maybe an album that's 2-3 years old or something.
I mean, it all depends. You know,
I guess you can, yeah.
Because if there's some, I mean, you know, you might not, like, a lot of times the album is just kind of a way to get people to hear your music so they come and see the show.
Exactly.
That's how, you know, because me, I want people to buy my records, but I'd rather have them at the show.
Exactly.
You know,
well, because there's more intangible things like when you come down to actually making money off your music. I mean, it's harder to, like, you can't get a digital T-shirt or a digital hoodie. You know what I mean? Or you can't. I mean, it's something about meeting the people directly on both ends of the spectrum. You know what I mean? So, yeah, cool, man, very cool. I love getting your side on that. Ross, I know Ross wants to know. I'm going to speak for Ross here because I know Ross wants to know if there's any funny things about performing on television.
Oh man, performing on television is hilariously weird in general. Well, yeah,
I imagine it would be weird.
Because they're all different. Like I've performed on television in a number of different contexts. Okay. You know, there's the kind of like just the other day, myself, my mother, and my stepfather took over Good Morning San Diego.
Are you serious?
At the station that they based the movie Anchorman from.
No way.
So that experience was quite different from the Tonight Show.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But you know, in general, when you get, like, I grew up in a film and television family, and the kind of community and family that gets created when you make a TV show, it's almost like a summer camp or like a school, you know, grade trip when you go away with your class or something like that. There's a great bond that happens between everybody, and when you kind of enter into that community of people, it can be really fun because you see all the little dynamics and everybody's got their jokes and their bits, and you know, usually they're glad you're there.
Usually.
When you know, for certain shows like The Tonight Show, the first time I did The Tonight Show was with Snoop Dogg, and I was young. I think it was 2001, and and we got there. They sent a car, very fancy schmancy. I was like, oh yeah, you know, going to bring me to the studio. You know, I had to wake up early. Got there at like 7:30 in the morning or something. Did like one little kind of sound check rehearsal, and then spent the rest of the day, spent 7 hours just waiting for this moment, you know, and start to get all nervous and crazy. Snoop's in the bus smoking a million joints, and it's got armed guards outside of the dressing room and stuff, and then you're waiting around all day long, you know, and I'm trying, there's all this different food around. I'm like, I don't want to just eat and be all stuffed and be playing and be full of food, you know. And then all of a sudden they go, all right, guys, here we go. Like, come on, let's go. They rush you downstairs. You get to the thing and they're like, 3, 2. And then the thing opens and there's everybody's there. And it's like, you just start playing. And it's that first time I was like, oh, man, my heart was racing when the moment where that curtain opened. Yeah, so
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely a thrill. But for me, the cool thing is, it's a nostalgic thing for me because I remember growing up on sets on shows that my dad was producing or that my mom was working on, and just kind of being a part of that family. It's really fun.
That's awesome. Speaking of television, do you have some advice to musicians who want to get their music on a TV show or in a movie, and as well as that maybe someone who's thinking about collaborating with someone, particularly outside of their regular genre.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you have to them?
Well, in general, I just advise people to be open-minded and enter into any collaborative situation with a mutually respectful, intention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like there's it's the same thing for me with my tattoos. I have a bunch of tattoos, and I wouldn't go into a tattoo shop and say, "Hey, I want this exact thing, and it has to look exactly like this," and blah blah blah, because this is a collaborative experience here.
I love it.
What I really would want is to go to a person, to find an artist, which I have found. The main artist that I go to, his name is Mike DeVries. He's incredible. But find an artist that I really love and just say, what inspires you? Like, show me your heart and soul in your artwork, because that's what I'll be proud to wear myself, and find the connection there. And it's the same thing with collaborating on music. Regardless of genre, all of those things can go out the window if you're open-minded. I did a session last night, such a fun session with a good friend of mine who, his name is Andre, but he goes by the name Mogwai. He's a really, really popular DJ from Germany, but tours all over the world. And, different kind of experience. It's not two guys sitting down with a guitar.
Right.
But so great, so much of the knowledge. I mean, he's there night after night, just watching huge crowds of people and seeing what they react to,
right,
exactly what does what, and learn so much from him, and then I can provide all the music, the musical stuff.
Mm-hmm. I love that, man. I feel like I'm on the same wavelength as you. I love it. Yeah, you got such a great positive energy, man. It's really infectious.
Thanks,
very much so. And just the first thing I asked there, just going about how you would go about getting a song on TV. Like, obviously you get a licensor, but there are situations where that doesn't happen. Like how did you go about kind of getting music on TV?
Well, I've got a bit of an unfair advantage at the start for that particular thing, because I grew up in a family that's in
right.
So because of that, my music was able to get to the people on those shows. It didn't get the music on the show.
No.
It just got the music to the people.
That's okay. It's kind of like connection does help.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have it, try to make those connections, right? I mean,
precisely. I always say, if there's a venue that you really want to play that you love or something like that, go hang out there. Like,
exactly.
Don't be obnoxious about it. Go get to know everybody there. Really find that community, find your place in it. Don't force your place in it. But
I was just going to say, being genuine is important, of course, and being yourself.
It's essential. Yeah, that is essential. But that's the way a lot of people. There are quite a few huge artists who have sold many, many records, who have worked the door at Hotel Cafe.
Right.
Because it's just that's the community. They weren't doing it to leech onto anything. It was genuine, but that's how a lot of it happens sometimes. It's kind of be there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But
cool.
But also just keep making music. There's so many ways to get music out there. That it's hard to know what works and what's going to work from one day to the next. I think the more creative you can be, the more prolific you can be, you certainly are always increasing your chances of success.
I love it. Absolutely love it. So, Keaton,
yes.
Are you ready for 20 questions?
Oh, sure. Okay, this is, yeah.
Ross, do you want to start off?
I'll start.
All right.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, man, both, but coffee lately.
Okay. Meat or veggies?
Why are you asking me questions that's both things?
Make me happy. Thank you.
CD or vinyl?
Vinyl. But I don't even have a record player, but I'd rather listen to vinyl than you.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Canada or Scotland?
Never been to Scotland. I love Canada. I've been there and I love it.
Nice.
So I mean, I can't fairly say.
You can't. You have to say where you've been.
Canada.
I'll say this like Ross, just for fun. Twitter or Facebook?
Twitter. Twitter or Facebook. Let me see.
That was much better than yours, Marcio.
Twitter wasn't that bad. Come on.
Marcio, yours was just terrible.
Twitter or Facebook? Yeah. Twitter or
Except-
Facebook? Twitter.
Okay, cool.
Stevie Wonder or Aretha Franklin?
Oh, God. God, I immediately have like such good arguments for each one in my head.
Who's winning? Who's winning the fight?
Who is winning?
Stevie Wonder just won the fight.
You won. How about for Breaking Bad or Homeland?
Breaking Bad. I've never seen Homeland.
Oh, hands
Breaking
down.
Bad, and I know Bryan Cranston very well because he starred on the show Malcolm in the Middle. My dad produced that show.
Shut up. You serious?
Love Bryan Cranston. He's
Like
one of my
seriously?
He's awesome.
dead serious.
Is he like pretty awesome in person?
Incredible. One of my favorite people in the world.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, amazing,
awesome.
amazing guy. I love him to death. He put me in. He was directing an episode of Malcolm, and he put me in the episode.
No way! I'm gonna have to look this up now.
I'm singing it's an episode where the kids go to vandalize a billboard and they're getting busted, so they kind of turn it around and make it like a political statement.
Right.
For human rights. So I play this folk hippie singer who sings a song about the guys being so righteous and making a stand.
That's amazing.
Cool. I've not watched much of Malcolm in the Middle, but it's something we're planning on getting the box set and watching all of. So I'm going to have to remember that episode and look out for you.
There you go. 1 degree separation from Bryan Cranston now. You just made my day, so we're good.
Yeah, man.
Indie or major?
Indie.
American Dad or Family Guy?
American Dad, because my buddy Mike Barker is one of the creators of that.
No way! Shut up!
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
I've had music on
I
American
believe
Dad.
you. This is great. You've had music on American Dad.
Yeah. I had my song
Ridiculous.
Misfits played. I don't know if you've seen the episode where it's the I think they call it a pig party or something, but Roger gets invited to this fraternity party because he thinks he's so hot, and it turns out he's there because he's there about finding the ugliest people they can. So my and then there's an episode where Jesus is like a hot dude and Francine
and Stan gets all upset because it's Jesus, but
exactly. And as he like rises from out of the pool, there's this thing like a guitar riff and this shredding vocal riff, and that's me.
No way, man! That's amazing. That's so cool. I can't lie. That's just cool. That's just cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with American Dad.
Oh, okay.
I would go with American Dad too. The
You know
Beatles
what?
or the Rolling Stones?
I was just going to jump in. I love Family Guy. I've loved Family Guy for so long,
Me too.
and it's really good. But I think American Dad is just a little bit more quality. I hate to say it.
It's totally taken over.
I guess it's a different route they went, less randomness, but they're both great. But
I'm excited to see the new stuff because now they've switched to TBS.
That's right, yeah.
So I'm very excited about that.
Same here.
So you say Beatles or Stones? Beatles.
Yeah.
Friends?
Nothing against the Stones, but I am a humongous Beatles fan.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Friends or Seinfeld?
Seinfeld.
Nice. Okay, I've got to say this just because it always makes Ross embarrassed, and that's what I'm here to do. Ross has never seen Seinfeld.
No.
Really?
Never seen Seinfeld.
He may be the only person in this world that's never seen Seinfeld.
My good friend, you should get the box set and watch the whole.
Yeah.
That's probably going to happen.
Yes.
Maybe start
That is
from
probably
season
gonna
2. The very first season of Seinfeld, it was for its time, it was cool, but it was really because that show had the time to develop that it became as brilliant as it was.
Yes.
At the beginning, it really was kind of a show about nothing, which is a brilliant idea, but there needs to be some substance behind the nothing.
Exactly.
And, but Seinfeld, one of my favorite shows of all time, I probably still to this day have every line memorized. And speaking of Bryan Cranston, you remember his character of Tim Watley, the dentist.
That's right. I always forget that until I see him in the episode again, and my wife and I are always like, "Hey, it's oh my gosh, what's he called on Breaking Bad? It's
Walter White.
No, but his other name,
Heisenberg.
Heisenberg, yeah. And he's like so young. He's like in his 30s there.
Oh, totally. Well, that's the thing about Bryan, that he just destroyed that amazing dramatic role, and really, he's one of the funniest dudes on earth. I mean, he's so funny. His work in comedy is unreal. It's like a Tom Hanks or something. Tom Hanks, his early stuff, so funny.
Yeah, in the 80s. And
funny comedic actor, and then, got into serious stuff and really showed his chops overall. Bryan's right up there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, how about Nashville or Los Angeles?
I gotta go LA because it's my home, born and raised here. I love Nashville, and it's really great, and it's kind of become like a mini LA in a certain sense because so many people moved from here to there in the last couple of years. But no, man, I love Nashville, but LA is my hometown. So I gotta go.
Jay Leno, or my personal favorite, but he's canceled, Craig Ferguson.
Oh, well, I've been on both shows.
No kidding, you've been on Craig Ferguson?
That's why I asked him.
Twice.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was on, I've been on The Tonight Show twice, but with other artists. I played with Snoop Dogg, and then I played with my friend Josh Kelly on The Tonight Show. I've actually done Ferguson twice myself.
I did not know that. I probably have seen, I've been a huge fan of Craig Ferguson.
Yeah.
I think he's a genius. I think he completely just did something completely different and broke down that whole format. I mean, you're probably aware that he's done shows where literally the whole monologue, 20 minutes, he's just talking about his father who had just passed away the day before. And, it's just, he's a real dude, you know what I mean? I was at a taping last year there, and you probably know this, he's the exact same off camera as he is on the show. Probably even funnier and more sincere.
Totally.
So what was it like being on that show? And I'm only asking that selfishly. We don't usually do this in 20 questions, but I love Craig Ferguson. So
it was wonderful. I mean, both of my experiences on that show were absolutely great, and they were a few years apart, so it was it was good to see how the show progressed over time. But yeah, really wonderful. I mean, Craig he's such a funny, smart dude. I mean, it's like, there's Leno is like a giant teddy bear. He's the sweetest dude ever.
Really,
has the largest head I think I've ever seen on a human being. And I don't mean that figuratively. I mean that quite literally. He peeks his head in to say hey guys, have a good show. Is such a such a sweet man.
Really?
Head into always
that's really good
to say hi and the whole thing. With his enormous head, and he's such a sweetheart. But no, I'll go with Ferguson. The dude put me on his show twice.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Craig Ferguson.
Michael Jackson or Michael Bolton?
Michael Jackson.
Sorry, Ross.
Don't laugh like that's such a ridiculous question.
Anyone say Michael Bolton?
Yeah, Ross, can you please bring Keaton up to speed? Why, besides the fact that you were raised on Michael Bolton, why you are exceptionally, excited about the idea of Michael Bolton? Can you just tell us?
Well, because of the power grab, because of the hair, because of just the cheesy epic
the power grab like this.
Key changes, you know?
But like this. So I always go like this. But he also tweeted you once, so that's...
Oh, he did tweet me once.
So they're
I think Marcy wants to bring this up on every episode now because I think it's been brought up 3 times. But yeah, he tweeted me once.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. I tweeted him first. He didn't just tweet me.
Like, hey Ross, I'm a huge fan.
I like.
All right.
Things is my kind of.
So I heard you like my hair. I heard you.
I heard a lot about you.
Yeah.
Keaton, twerk or work?
Work.
Oh, well, okay. That's not as fun, but
I know.
Ricky Gervais or Ricky Martin?
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It took me a minute to get into the American Office because I was a very big fan of it.
I never watched the UK Office, but I love the American Office. Yeah.
I got to that place and I really fell in love with it, and it really became an incredible program. But before that, I was such a huge fan of the original Office. And the first season of the American Office, they were kind of trying to stay too close to the original, and it wasn't working because it seemed a little forced to me, especially because I was familiar with it.
They found their own way, went their own direction.
And kicked ass. But yeah, so Ricky Gervais over Ricky Martin, even though Ricky Martin's an awesome dude too.
Whale or kale?
Whale or kale?
We don't really know what it is.
Okay. Well,
I'm good with kale.
I'd rather eat kale.
Yes, exactly.
I'd rather kale become extinct than whale become extinct.
I'm kind of torn on that. I'm a vegan, so I don't want to see whales go extinct, but I also need kale so badly because I eat it every day. So, oh God, the dilemma.
I'd eat it every day, but if I knew that it was going to, extinguish all whale life.
I'm with you on that.
Whale kale.
Okay.
Bette Midler or the Riddler?
Bette
Midler's been popular lately.
Yeah, she has been.
People are digging her right now.
I don't know. She must be like the it thing now, you know? She's kind of like the new Taylor Swift, you know?
That would be her. Exactly. I'm sure she would really appreciate that comparison. That's like all those people who didn't know who Paul McCartney was on Kanye.
Oh, God, yeah.
I didn't even read a single of those articles. I looked on Facebook and I was like, nope, I'm not going to do this. It'll make me too angry.
Exactly. And drum roll, please, Ross. This is the last question, the most important question. Thank you. He's doing a better drum roll than I can ever do. Keaton, Ross, or Marcia?
What? I'm choose one of us?
Yeah, we're terrible human beings. I'm sorry.
Listen, you guys are awesome, okay? You're awesome dudes. We've hit it off. We're hitting it off.
Finally, someone says it, Ross.
All right? But it's very important that we take care of ourselves first. Otherwise, we're no good to be of service to anyone else. I have to choose myself.
You're the first person to do that.
Love it.
I have a damn good reason for it.
You are. What's the reason?
The reason
you just said. Okay, yeah. It's true, man. It's true. You gotta love yourself first and foremost.
Dude,
that's it.
Very important.
Hey, he probably got out of that question the most cleverly. Is that even a word? Cleverly, the most clever way of getting out of a question. I love it. Well,
thank you.
So, Keaton, what are you listening to nowadays? What are you spinning on your iPod or whatever? Oh wow! Oh sure, I shouldn't say that. Or MP3 player.
Just call it a listening device.
We'll say MP3 player that has like 100 megabytes, and you could put 10. You could put like 20 songs on it. You know what I'm talking about back.
I remember those days. They were bad days.
I'm an MP3 player. Look, it has 6.
I had to change my songs every night because I was like, I'm bored of this already, and I had like too much that I wanted to listen to.
Well, I'm a huge science buff, and I've been really fascinated by the evolution of technology. I read a lot of Ray Kurzweil and Michio Kaku and a lot of stuff about the future. So there's so many amazing statistics, like, you know, a computer of a certain amount of memory was $1 million and filled up a room. Now it's, you know, your phone is 1,000,000 times more powerful than that. In the next 10, 15 years, that technology will be microscopic. It'll be the size of a blood cell. You know what I mean? Like, incredible, that kind of stuff. I love the way those things have changed. And yes, of course, I also remember mini disc players and the. Do you remember mini disc?
Yeah, all the small ones.
I never had one, but I remember them.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one. And it is
ridiculous.
Most useless thing I have.
And sometimes they'd be in different shapes too and stuff, just stupidly. It makes no sense.
A perfect example of a technology that did not catch on. No
exactly.
But anyway, I've of course talked myself into a place where I don't even remember what the hell we're talking about to begin with. What is going
Music recommendations. What have you been listening to lately?
Yeah, what are you listening to?
I really dig a band that's out right now called the Barr Brothers. They are incredible. You guys should check them out. BARR. And there's another one, and it's funny because they're also named the something brothers, the Wood Brothers. Incredible, so great. I love them. And then I've got a lot of great friends who are super talented. I mean, you mentioned Tyler Hilton and Tara Naomi. I highly recommend both of those artists. Tony Luca, one of my dear friends, coming out with a new album in like a week. So check out those names.
Or by the time this airs, a new album that just came out recently.
Wait, exactly. This album has come out years ago, or it's
it won't be that
indeterminate time. But no, and then also I always listen to a lot of old stuff too. I'm like I said, a big Beatles fan. Listen to a lot of jazz music and a lot of world music because I've a degree in ethnomusicology, that is the study of world music, and so I listen to a lot of West African music, a lot of Turkish and Indian music, a lot of Tuvan throat singing, and then a lot of old blues, man, especially these days because I'm getting back to my blues roots with my new stuff, and you know, just keeping that raw thing, and so I'm going right back to where it all started for me, which is with Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Robert Johnson, B.B. King, Ray Charles, and so on and so on.
Keaton, where can people find you online? I know it's KeatonSimons.com, right?
Simons. Keaton Simons.
Oh my God, sorry, Simons.
No, that happens.
Broke the podcast.
Don't even worry about it. Yeah, KeatonSimons.com. Yeah, KeatonSimons.com. And then Facebook / Keaton Simons Music. Twitter is at Keaton Simons. Instagram's at Keaton Simons. I'm trying to get the information to you, so if you are paying attention, you'll see it.
Good. Go at him, like him, follow him, do whatever. Yes, subscribe to him, tickle him, whatever.
Whatever it is, whatever's the next.
Tickle. That'll be the next thing.
Yeah.
Well, trademark. Yeah, that's Bridge Atlantic. We're gonna start our app, and it's gonna be a tickle. Brother, honestly, it's been a pleasure meeting you. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Please do come back very soon. Maybe after your record's out. We'd love to have you on and talk about some other fun stuff. You can tell us about all the other shows you've been on that we didn't know about. Terrible prep. I'm sorry.
No. You guys did more than enough prep. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to doing it again whenever you guys want.
Awesome, brother. Take care.
Right on.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching Bridge the Atlantic. If you like what you saw, make sure to like, favorite, and most importantly, subscribe so that you don't miss each week's episode.
Click on the videos above us if you'd like to see more, and please feel free to leave us a comment letting us know what you think of the show.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and subscribe to us on iTunes so that you can listen to us on the go. Thanks again for being awesome, and we'll see you on next week's episode.